Hello, everyone.
Hi everyone. Definitely throughout the chat today, if you have any questions, comments, things you want to know about, please put it in the chat. We'll be keeping an eye on the chat and we'll go through everything that's in the chat as well. Oh, EJ Nava, hello from Miami.
How's the weather in Miami right now?
We were hoping to be outside this morning, but we've gotten a little bit windy the last couple days, and so yeah, we planned to be out on the deck, but we thought you wouldn't be able to hear us because it's just.
If anyone's following us on our Instagram, we do have a fire back, well, I guess you don't know the direction, but it's up our hill, about 500 meters up. It's burning down, so it's a wildfire. Out of control, in control, we're not really sure. There's not much response media-wise. We were getting posts when it first started from the residents that are really close, but we haven't heard much past day or two. But there is smoke billowing up the hill. We saw it last night as we were at dockside having some fish and chips. But hopefully it's doing all right. But the wind is not helping the situation over there. You can see it's very, very smoky here, and you can smell the smoke all day.
Yeah. And we're not really expecting rain till like next Thursday.
It's gonna be another week, yeah.
Like possibly we might get like a tiny little bit of rain, but probably if we do get any, not enough to really help with the fire situation.
If anyone knows the seasons here, the dry season is really, really dry. So hopefully we get some rain soon so we can just put up whatever wildfires are happening here. I know there's wildfires happening all across Canada, especially in Alberta, our home province, but and also down through the States. So everyone's kind of dealing with their own situation.
Yeah. EJ Nava says weather's good in Miami. Of course it's good in Miami.
Of course, yeah. Weather here is really hot. It's about 30, it says 30 degrees right now, but 33 degrees outside, but 30 inside, so it's hot. We have the fan going here. Hopefully it's not making too much noise.
Yeah, need a little bit of fan, but well, in Miami, the ball team's doing really good right now, aren't they?
Tampa Bay, yeah. Tampa Bay Rays are doing really, really well. They were off to a really good start of the season. I follow the Blue Jays. I'm a Blue Jays fan, but they're doing as well. They're doing good as well. But
well, and we're hoping to get to Nicaragua ball game in Rivas.
Yep, so they have Rivas plays every weekend, either Saturday or Sunday. We were planning on going the past 2 weeks, but always something's popped up. So
well, a couple times they changed the game last minute.
We were supposed to go on a Saturday game, and then I read a post that the game was going to start. They moved it to the Friday, so for whatever reason, so we missed that one.
Yeah.
And then they moved the Labor Day one, or the
Sunday to the Monday, which is a new holiday here.
Yeah, the new holiday, May 1st, was a new holiday here. Also in other sports news, following Edmonton Oilers. So I know it's really hard to go and get any games down here.
Well, and for anybody who is a really big sports fan of Canadian sports or American sports, there are a couple bars in town that do stream in all the games, especially for playoffs. So Hip Bar does all the time. I think Social does as well. Palms has some games, and ECAL, I might be saying that wrong. TechAl, ECAL. Down the street from Nacho, they stream in a lot of sports as well. So
they'll post it online, what they're playing on their TVs that evening. So
yeah, wander around town. Somebody's got a game on if that's what you're looking for. So
and also if you're watching the NBA, our Raptors are out. So that was that. Now the Heat. So that's what I'm cheering for now is the Heat. But we'll see. I think it's going to be the Heat and the Lakers in the final. So that's my prediction.
What's your prediction?
It's live. It's real.
We'll see how close he is. But I would say generally we're starting to feel pretty settled in here.
Oh, yeah.
In Nicaragua,
Yeah.
so
We still have not got our stuff. Stuff was supposed to leave Canada on the 2nd of January, and we haven't received it. So we don't have our cooking stuff, we don't have our bed, we don't have a lot of stuff. We
not
just
really
have
stuff we need that much.
stuff that we
Yeah.
don't need, but it's essentials that we'd like to go and have.
Yeah. The few
Uh,
boxes that we decided were essential to pack still haven't made it here.
So our kitchen and our bed. So we do have a bed here, obviously, but we'd like to go and have our own bed. But
But it should be coming soon.
should be coming soon. So we got here in Nicaragua end of January.
End of January.
So we waited, I think, 2 months. Or they kept it in storage 2 months. Then they moved to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Then from Vancouver, it goes to Costa Rica by ship or by boat.
And it did arrive in Costa Rica last weekend.
Yep. So
it's, it's on the move.
I think May 1st or May 2nd, it landed in Costa Rica. And then it's going to come by truck from Costa Rica to Nicaragua. And we believe, we've been told that that is the best route to ship stuff here is go to Costa Rica and then pay that bill. And then once it goes from Costa Rica into Nicaragua by truck,
Yeah, by land.
that billing will only be taxed. So the Canada to Costa Rica won't be taxed, but from Costa Rica in, which will be a smaller bill, will be taxed. That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
We'll let you know if it's true or not, and what we had to pay to go and get our stuff here.
Yeah, definitely. Like the quotes we got, there was a lot more tax in Nicaragua when it was freighting by sea all the way to Nicaragua, because they look at like the cost of what it costs to get your things, and so like that's a giant bill to go from Canada to Nicaragua. So now we're only looking at paying Nicaraguan tax for the cost of getting it from Costa Rica to here. So it should save us a fair bit of money that way. And we've also been told that the customs process is a little bit easier if it comes by land,
Yeah.
as opposed to going into a Nicaragua port. So right now it's at the Costa Rica port, and it's in the process of going through the Costa Rican customs, and then we're just waiting for the call, and then our stuff
Yeah.
should show up.
But
here.
our visa and our tip expire on the 19th or 20th. So we should hopefully get our stuff before then, or we'll have to do an actual border run. So we'll have to drive our vehicle out of country, get stamped out, close our tip, go into Costa Rica, and drive back. But we did it last time,
Yeah, we did it last
so
time.
Toph can explain our process if you want.
Yeah, so basically there's kind of two things that we're dealing with. We're dealing with the TIP, which is the temporary import permit for the car. Because our car is our Canadian car, we haven't got a Nicaraguan vehicle yet, which we will soon, but we're hanging on to this vehicle a little bit longer. It can only stay in the country 30 days. So every 30 days the vehicle needs to leave. So we could go to Costa Rica just for the day, for an hour, loop around, come back, and then start that process of 30 days over again. Us as people, the visa is good for 90 days, and that's not just Nicaragua, that's all of the C4. So that's Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. So you can stay in those 4 countries, so the CA4 or Central America 4, you can stay in those 4 countries in total for 90 days. So if you're here in Nicaragua, it kind of makes it easy, because if you want to stay longer, you can just go to Costa Rica, do your border run, and then you got another 90 days in the C4. If we went the other direction, we'd have to go all the way to either Belize or Mexico to be out. So you can't just go to Honduras and restart your visa again. So it makes it easy for us. We're only about 45 minutes from the Costa Rica border. And so we've done it once. We did it in February. The first month that we were here, because the vehicle needed to leave, and we were able to exit Nicaragua, go into Costa Rica, do our personal visas, and we were able to not have to buy a temporary import permit for the vehicle in Costa Rica, because we literally went to the office and then drove back to Nicaragua. So we were 100 meters in Costa Rica for 15 or 20 minutes. It was a pretty quick process. So we realized that they could have made us got one, but they were really nice and they didn't. So we're kind of hoping in 2 weeks here when we have to do it again that we can do the same thing. If not, it'll cost us, you know, a couple of dollars and a little bit more time, but not the end of the world.
Yep.
But that border run was pretty interesting. We got there super early. We were all ready to go. The checking, like getting us stamped out of Nicaragua, that was all easy. It was all vehicle related. That was a real pain in the rumpus. First when we got there, we asked where the office was to close out the tip. So they told me it was in this office like down the hill. So I walked down the hill. Turns out that wasn't the place, but I had spent like about an hour and a half there, standing out in the sun, and it was really more like truck drivers and stuff like that. Like I felt like it was maybe the wrong spot, but it was hard to say. And so like I waited in line. I finally got up to the window, and there was like 4 windows there. And then the lady in the window said, "Oh, it is here, but you need to go to the next window, like window number 2. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So I get in line, I go to the next window, and then there was a really nice gentleman that pulled me up to the front of the line when he got in, because he's like, "I don't think this is where you need to be, and I don't want you to wait for another hour to talk to someone." So I go up to the line, and then they're like, no, it's back up at the main office. So I go back up there. They didn't know where it was. They actually sent me around to where you come into Nicaragua, because at the Penas Blancas border crossing in Nicaragua, it's the same office. It's like one side of the office is entering and one side of the office is exiting, and it's the same in Costa Rica. So you can literally see, like, just walk across the hall and you can see where people are coming in. So they told me to go around there, and that's where it was. And that is where the office was. So long story short, took a little while to actually get to the right spot. Nobody seemed to know where this spot was. Then I waited in that line for like probably another hour. I get up to the counter, and the lady's like, "Oh, well, you need to talk to the police that are out in the parking lot. They need to sign off on your paperwork, and then you bring it to me." For the love of God. So I go out there. Meanwhile, Chris is like, "What's taking so long?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm following the process here. Like, it's like herding cats. So then, that's the biggest thing, is when you get there, you have to see, there's like a couple of little buildings that have police officers in them, and you have to see them, and basically they're going to check over your vehicle. They're going to sign something on your paperwork for your vehicle, and then you go into the office, and do your exit and closing your vehicle tip. But like I said, you actually, you do that in the parking lot, then you would go in, you'll see the customs agents all, you know, kind of normal border crossing where they would exit, stamp your passport. And then you actually have to walk straight past them. You kind of look like you're going into like an area you shouldn't be in, to be honest, because you're kind of like on the back side. And you'll see there's conveyor belt where they're actually x-raying people's stuff when they're coming in, and then you get into the line and it's over there, and it's the same spot if you're entering or exiting. So when we came back through to redo our tip, we knew exactly where we needed to go, but to exit, it was a little bit of a kerfuffle. And then what ended up taking us so long, other than, you know, the couple hours we were waiting in line, is on our original tip when we entered Nicaragua, they had made a note, which we didn't really notice at the time, but it said that we had, they noticed that we had 2 dogs with us, and that we had... kitchen, so it was like a camp stove, and propane tank, like a full-size or 20-liter propane tank, and a couple of cooking utensils. Anyway, they made some notes on our paperwork, and we never thought much of it. And then when we went to go and do the border run, just leave and come back, well, we're not going to go and bring our dogs because we'd have to go and get the vet's paperwork to leave and then go into Costa Rica and then come back. So the dogs stayed here. Yeah. And we imported the dogs. We did all the proper paperwork when we came in, like. And we left, obviously, our camp stove and all our cooking stuff here. So we just went through, and they're like, "Well, where's your bags? Where's all the stuff you brought in?" We're like, "Well, no,
we're only doing a border run. We're not, we're coming right back. So all our stuff is still at, our residence here.
Yeah.
They were not happy with that. They thought that we sold our stuff here, so they wanted to tax us on it. We argued back and forth for a while, and we're like, we definitely didn't sell our dog. We knew we were going nowhere, so I just like, how much?
$75 US.
$75 US, and we're like, if that's what we have to go and do to go and do this border run, it's the cost of the run. And then they gave us a receipt for our dog and all the stuff that they put tax on, so it's basically already pre-taxed. They said, hold on to this, because this is your tax receipt for those products. So if you do this again, you can pull up your receipt and say, nope, I already paid tax on my dog or dogs, my camp stove, and my propane tank. The propane tank was very interesting that they were like really adamant that we
take that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that I thought was so crazy.
When they came in, they took photos of it. They were taking pictures of our propane tank, writing down information. It was interesting, but we made it through.
Yeah, we made it through. It ended up taking us like 7 hours or some god-awful nonsense, but we made it back. A little flustered, but we made it back. We made it through. It would be so much easier the next time, but for anybody that is going through with a vehicle, if you're coming through with a vehicle, it's because you've come with a bunch of stuff. So just be aware. Notice on your tip, there's a little spot that said observations. And like I said, we didn't really think anything of it. Whatever it says on there, if you go to do a border run, bring it with you. Then you should have no issues. That's what took us the longest, other than kind of getting the runaround of where we were supposed to go. But I would say that's just kind of typical government processes in Nicaragua.
I've heard
not
other
super
people
efficient, and just nobody really knows what's going on, even in the same building. Like, how do you not know where this office is? Like, I was asking the customs agent, the window is literally 25 feet right behind the guy, and he didn't even know. Like,
yeah. So we've had, I've heard some other people go and do border runs just by foot. So they have to go do their 90-day, not their 30-day tip. And it takes them 3 hours, 4 hours just to go and do that. So our extra three or 4 hours for the vehicle is a bit much. But we should be able, I think we can go and do it a little more efficiently this time, because we know where we're going, we know what to do.
And we don't have any observations on
We
our
have no
tip.
observations, so we're clean.
Well, in Costa Rica, in and out of Costa Rica, we were like an hour or less.
Yeah.
It might have even been 45 minutes. So.
But we found when we went into Costa Rica, they asked us our departure, like when are we leaving, and we need proof of that. They want us to go and buy a bus ticket to prove a departure bus ticket to come out, and we're like, we're leaving like in an hour. We're not going to go and buy a bus ticket. They're like, you need proof, you need a ticket, and they didn't really believe us. So we said we have a vehicle, it's in the parking lot. This is our bus ticket. This is our vehicle.
Yeah,
leaving.
we showed them like our keys. We showed them like the registration.
So they wrote the registration down, and they were satisfied after a while with that. So that worked. But be aware that they want to know or have proof of when you're leaving. So you just can't come to Costa Rica and say, oh, I don't have a plan to leave, but I will leave. They won't believe you. So
yeah, I guess they do sell bus tickets there. And people have had to do that. They've had to go and buy like a bus ticket for $5 showing that they're leaving Costa. It's one of those things, like, if they're adamant that you have to prove it, we were just lucky that we were driving our vehicle. But like, we've heard from other people and some people saying online that they've been kind of pushing this. Just in the chat here, Brian said, oh yeah, border run with the car, total hassle, maybe not worth it. I would totally tell you, we're only doing this because we want to keep our vehicle for a little bit longer. Once we get that Nicaraguan vehicle, we won't have to do that, and it'll be so much easier.
do you want to talk about the Managua one?
I will, but I'm just going to answer a couple comments
Yeah.
because I don't want to lose them here. Who was it? Somebody asked, it's kind of up the chat, about whether we have an HVAC system here. We don't have like central air in our house, and most houses don't. What they have is they have individual room air conditioners.
Mm-hmm.
So we have an air conditioner that does our living room, kitchen, bottom floor area, and then each bedroom has an air conditioner.
So you have 4 air conditioners total.
Yeah, it's much more efficient that way. So you only turn the air conditioner on in the location that you're trying to cool down, and they work really well. Like in a bedroom, within 15 minutes, your room's cooled right down. You're at whatever temperature, and even when we turn our living room kitchen one on, within like, I mean, you notice it right away. As soon as you turn that air conditioner on, within a few minutes, it's already starting to cool down. And it's crazy because when we do turn our living room on, we've turned it on a few times the last couple weeks because it's been really, really hot and humid. We're in the hottest time right now in Nicaragua. And even if we set it at like 28 or 29, which I know sounds ridiculous, 28 or 29, but when it feels like 35, 36 outside, that air conditioner, what it does is it just takes the humidity out and cools it down like just a couple of degrees, and that's fine. We were talking the other day, like, you know, if we go back to Canada and someone has like their, you know, kind of general room temperature is 22 degrees, like I think we'd be freezing because...
Yeah, we've acclimatized pretty well. The dogs have acclimatized fairly well. We've been doing sprinkler time or hose time with the dogs, or garden hose.
Garden hose, yeah.
Loves our garden. As soon as we turn that on, hear the little creak of the little tap, they come running out happy as ever, and we just spritz them all down.
Yeah.
Get the fur nice and down, and that cools them down quite a bit. Like right now, Penelope's just panting a little bit. They're acclimatized, they're used to it. We've acclimatized quite a bit as well. But when we have like the peak sun, yeah, we just wet them down a little bit, or if it is really unbearable, we will just simply just close the house up and turn the air conditioner on, just pull the humidity out, and it's way more comfortable.
Yeah. Or we give them a timeout in their room and put the air conditioner on.
I think we drop it down to like 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
24, 25.
Yeah. So
they get nice and cool.
Nice and cool, yeah.
And for those that are wondering, bulldogs do not swim. Like they cannot swim. They're too muscular and too heavy. They will sink to the bottom. So far, generally pretty good. They do not want to go in the pool. They don't try to go in the pool. We don't take them in the pool. There was an incident one day where Tigger fell into the pool. He was following me from our little bodega. I was filling up his kibble bin, and he was distracted. He was like looking up at me with eyes of like, kibble, mom, kibble. And he cut the corner on the edge of the pool and slipped in. So I had to jump in and grab him.
Yeah,
Scared the crap out of him. Scared the crap out of me. But like I said, they do not try to go in the pool. So we really don't worry that they're not just gonna like run and try to jump in the pool. They don't want to go in the pool.
Like when we're in the pool, they're very curious. They come up to the edge, but they have no interest. They know that the pool is not safe for them. So
yeah.
We were worried about that when we came down, if they're gonna go and have an accident with the pool, or if they're gonna even try to get in.
Yeah, chase their toys in.
They don't even try.
No. Yeah, Penelope, a few times she's been playing with the toy and it's like slid across the deck, and we wondered if she would like run after it. Nope, slid across the deck, it goes in the pool, she stops like 2 feet from the pool and then waits for you to get it out, so that's good. But yeah, a couple people asking like about politics and like, you know, you get hassled.
We don't really talk about politics too much. It's not a very popular topic in this country.
Yeah, like Dave said, you don't get involved and it's no issue. So that's our policy.
But when we do go to Managua for our tip runs or to go and grocery shop, we do get stopped by the police quite a bit.
Lots of check stops here.
Like 4 times each direction, 3 times each direction. We have not paid a fine or a bribe, and we felt we've not done anything wrong. They've said that we've crossed the center line. Well, there was a 3-wheeled motorbike thing, like a tuck, parked on the side of the road, and I went around it. There was no oncoming traffic, but I went around it, so half my vehicle or quarter of my vehicle went across the solid line, and they saw that, so that's what they're trying to nail me for. I said, I argued a little bit. He wanted a bribe, and I didn't play that game. We had all the time in the world because we planned everything out. So he finally gave up and he moved on. And another time they said we were speeding in a school zone, but the school was actually closed, and we were doing 45.
No, we were doing
30.
We were doing like 30.
Yeah, so the school zone is 25 here when students are present.
Yeah.
But the school was closed.
And we were actually out of the school zone at that time too.
We were out of the schools, so they hassled me about that, and I'm like, no. When students are present and we're not in the school zone anymore, it's 45. I point to the sign that he stopped me at. I said, we were doing 30. And he's like, oh, well, he agreed we were doing 30. I think he said he was doing 35 or something like that.
I think, yeah.
We're like, well, obviously they don't have speed.
Radar gun.
They don't have radar guns. They just kind of eyeball it. So I don't know how they pull that off.
Yeah.
But then we just talked to us and said, no, we weren't speeding. You know, you wear your seatbelt here. This is very important. Mm-hmm. If you're not wearing your seatbelt, you will 100% get a ticket. They take your license, they put it in Managua, and you get a little orange
Voucher,
ticket or
yeah.
something, some little fine thing. You have to go to the bank, pay it, then take that receipt to the
Police station.
police station in Managua. There's only one. So in the whole country, you have to go to Managua. You get it taken in San Juan. Go to Managua, show them the receipt, and they will give you your license back.
So real pain. Like if they are going to give you a ticket, maybe ask if you could pay the fine on the spot, if you get what I'm saying.
But that's, yeah.
Ideally, we want to talk our way out of it.
Basically, if you did something wrong, then you did something wrong. That's not cool. But there's tons of people that drive horribly in this country.
Well, I was going to say, most of the time, they're trying to get you to give them money right off the bat.
So they will say that they will pay the fine for you. So just give them the money and then they will go pay the fine for you.
So Mechanic Mender wants to know what's the purpose of the checkpoints. So they are legitimately, like, they do lots of check stops, and they just kind of randomly pull people over. And really, what they're looking for is they're looking to see that you have the proper documents for your vehicle, so that it's registered and that you have insurance. And we talking to some people, and it's that a lot of local people don't always have insurance. So they'll give them tickets for that. And you'll see people, like, you'll see a check stop and you'll see people just like 180 turn around and go the other way because they don't want to get stopped at the check stop. And then that's how you know, like, oh, that person probably doesn't have insurance or the vehicle's not registered.
You think that the police are chasing down, but the police don't chase them. Like, it happens all the time. They see a check stop, they'll pull over the side of the road, they'll do a U-turn, and then they'll go the opposite direction just to go and avoid the check stop. It's super obvious to everyone what they're doing. But the police don't chase people down. That's not what they do. And any fine, that's what I was going to talk about earlier. Any fine here is like maximum $20. That's the maximum that you're ever going to pay. So if you were pulled over and asked for, they're going to go and pay your fine for you, and it's like $50.
Yeah, get the ticket then.
Get the ticket. It's going to be a hassle to go and get your license back because they will take your license.
Yeah.
So hey, that's enough for that.
And
topic.
Brian says, yeah, like speaking good Spanish and just having all your documents in order, knowing that you didn't do anything wrong. He said they're looking for easy marks, and so lots of times people just get scared. The cops pull them over and question them. Like, if you didn't do anything wrong, say you didn't do anything wrong. They'll eventually say, go on your way. They're looking for the person that's going to pull over, and they're going to fork out money right away.
Bribing a cop is illegal in this country, and cops being caught taking bribes is very illegal in this country as well. So they want to hide and shelter if they are going to be taking money from you. We've seen it in other videos that the cop basically will try to hide when you deal out the money. We just rather either talk our way out of the ticket.
Didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. We don't want to pay. We don't want a ticket.
Yeah. They also look for fire extinguisher and emergency triangles. Those are a must-have in your vehicle at all times. Every vehicle must have that. So fire extinguisher and those little triangle reflector flags.
Yeah, and so we carry those in our car, so we're good.
We have those in our car all the time, so that's very important to go and have here and to know where it is if you are renting. Because we were pulled over before and we didn't know what it looked like. It looked like a can of like hairspray or like aerosol can.
Yeah.
So I looked past it, I'm like, I don't know where it is. It's a rental. I'll call the rental company. After a while, they gave up because they know that it's there, and I think they saw that I picked it up and I moved it aside to go and show them the triangle, show them this.
It's a fun adventure.
If you spend enough time there, they will give up on you. Or they'll just really give you a ticket and then you'll move on with a fine.
Yeah. But if they're pulling out a yellow envelope and they start to write on it, that's how you know they're giving you a ticket.
Yeah,
Otherwise, if they're writing on like a piece of paper, they're not trying to give you a ticket.
Yeah, not everyone actually has a ticket book here either. So cops, not all of them carry the ticket book with them. So it's a piece of loose leaf.
Yeah.
They're writing your name down, all that stuff. It's not legit. Or they'll also, one thing I've seen is they'll take your license, it'll tell you to go to the bank, pay, and then come back. And then with that, they will give you but the chances of the bank being not busy because it takes hours sometime,
Yeah,
they might not
banks
be
know.
there still. So then it's a loss.
Yeah.
So it will
Just
move
talk
on.
nice to them, be friendly, and they'll give up.
Yeah.
So the other option with the vehicle, and I'll make this quick because not everybody has a vehicle, and we found this actually easier than doing a border run, but I mean, if you have a reason to go to the city anyway, it's not a big deal. So you can go to a government office, it's called the DGA office. It's kind of on the far side of Managua from San Juan, but it's fairly easy to get to it, a little bit of traffic, but it's doable. You go there. It's a pretty quick process. You go in, you go to one window, you tell them that you need to extend the tip, so you're running out of the 30 days. Instead of doing a border run, you ask for an extension there. They say okay. They give you a little slip of paper with like your receipt number on it, and the bank knows what it is, and then you have to go 3 doors down to the bank and you have to pay. It's $10, and essentially you're paying $10 just for them to file the paperwork to extend your tip. So you go 3 doors down, you go into the bank, be prepared, the bank is always busy and it's slow. Like everybody here does money transactions at the bank, like there's lots of people. In-person banking, paying bills, taking out cash, depositing, like all things that we would normally do online. It's like everybody does it in person here. So when you actually have to go in to pay this bill, it takes forever. Like every time we've done it, especially in Managua, it's like an hour. Even when we went to the bank here in San Juan a few times, we've waited like not as long, maybe half an hour. Once in a while, it's been quick. So just be prepared. Bank can be a little bit slow. But you go in, you pay this $10 fee at the bank, and then the bank gives you a receipt, which you'll then take back to the office, go back 3 doors down. The other thing you have to do is you have to get insurance for the vehicle, which you would get at the border as well. It's $13. Our suggestion is you can get it at the bank right there. You don't need an appointment. You basically just like show up and they see you, but there might be people ahead of you, so you might have to wait. So the last time it was like 2 hours. It took me like an hour to pay the $10, and it took me like an hour to wait in line to get to see the insurance agent. So if you are in country, what we would suggest is just go to the local bank. Like we would just go to the local bank in San Juan, see the insurance person there. The line should be a lot smaller and a lot quicker. You can also make an appointment, so we could make an appointment ahead of time potentially to go in there. Get your insurance, then you have it, because it's just a piece of paper and it says it's good from this day to this day. Then that's one less thing you would need to do when you go into Managua. But basically, you have your insurance and you have this receipt that you've paid your $10. You go back to the DGA office, you give it back to them, and then they say, okay, come back in a couple of days and we'll have your paperwork ready. We had read online, lots of people said you won't get it the same day, but you'll get it the next day, which we were kind of hoping the first time we did it, we could just stay the night in Managua and then we could pick up the paperwork, we could leave in the morning. They're like, nope, we can't do it same day, we can't do it tomorrow, and every time it's been like 3 days later is like the soonest you can get it. So just be prepared that you're gonna go in one day, do all the running around, and then you can go back home or stay in the city or do whatever you want to do, but it's not going to be a couple days. Then you go back. But when you go back to get it, it's like you just go in, you wait in line till they serve your number, and then boom, you got your paperwork and off you go. It's pretty quick. So instead of doing the border run to Costa Rica with our vehicle, we did 30-day extensions in Managua, but now coming up in May, visa needs to be renewed, so we have to go to Costa Rica.
We can't do a third one.
Yeah, so that's an option. If you want a little bit less hassle, but potentially, 2 trips to the city. So take it or leave it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, whatever suits you the best.
What else do we want to talk about? I guess like people always want to know like what's your life like in Nicaragua? Well, I would say we're pretty settled in now.
Yeah.
We have like a pretty regular exercise routine. We do yoga lots of days out by the pool.
If the sun's not beating down on us.
Yeah, so we have to go early or we have to go later in the afternoon. We also do lots of walks.
Oh yeah.
We ride our bike a lot, and kind of just like our sort of daily routine is where our house is, we're like about a 15 to 20 minute walk to town, depending on where in town you want to go. And if we take our bikes, so if we walk, we go across the beach. If we take our bikes, we go around the road in town. It takes us about 20 minutes regardless. If we walk, it's 20 minutes. If we bike, it's 20 minutes. So there's two different routes. So kind of our daily routine is we either walk or bike most of the time. If we need to go into town to pick up groceries, if we need to go to the bank, if we need to go to the hardware store, like any errands that we need to run, we mostly do by non-vehicle power. We do take our car once in a while if we're going in, obviously into Revis, it's like 30 minutes away, or if we're picking up a few bigger things.
Picking up water, our water run.
Yeah.
It's like the shortest car ride ever, but you know, it's for you can see the back behind Tove. It's those giant 20-liter water bottles. I don't think I want to carry 4 of them. About
500 meters from water.
500?
Yeah, there's a little like corner store just
There's
down
a corner store down the street. So we're not going to go and put it in. We're not going to go and carry it on the bike. We've seen that. We've seen it on motorbikes. You'd be amazed what they carry on motorbikes around here. Like how many people fit on a motorbike will surprise you. We've seen 3 adults and a child on one motorbike, and they're only 150 cc's. So very interesting. Or people with ladders, crutches. Anyway.
Yeah.
Rebar. But so, yeah, when we do water runs, we obviously just throw in the back of the car, throw the dogs in the car, and then we just go down, get the water. We do a little loop, cruise around, make the dogs happy, get a little car ride in, and then we come back.
Yeah.
But very minimal car use.
Yeah, minimal car use, and because we do decide to walk or ride our bike to go into town to pick up things, obviously it takes a little longer, but we're tired, so we have the time and it's good exercise. So I mean, it's things like that. Like before we would be stopping on our way home from work. We would drive to the grocery store after work, and then you do grocery shopping and whatever. So now we just make it more part of our day. And if we go into town for something, if we're going for one thing, then we'll pick up a couple things. Like and fruits and vegetables here are really fresh.
No preservatives.
They don't have the preservatives. They don't last as long. They're picking things when they're ripe, as opposed to like in Canada where so much is coming from a truck and it was picked unripe, and it'll last for 2 weeks in your fridge or on your counter. That won't happen here. Like you get things, you need to eat it fairly quickly. So every couple days you need to pick up a few things is kind of what we do. Sort of European style.
Yeah. So we get our exercise in that way. Just walk into town or bike into town quite often, very often. And you have to walk around different stores. We get our vegetables somewhere else. Then we get, our cleaning supplies and all our other stuff. So
meat's at a different spot, and so you're
it's fun.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. And we're eating tons of coconut. Coconut is super cheap. It is 30 cord coconut.
Like $1.
So yeah, less than American dollar. It's about $1 Canadian. So lots of coconut. Loving it.
Yeah. Okay, a couple good questions in the chat. Wanted to know about the area Grand Pacifica. Each end have a $. It is very expensive there. It looks beautiful. We have not been to Grand Pacifica, so I can't say for certain. I think, and then someone was asking, living out of town, more rural. It really depends on what you're looking for in terms of that living experience. So whether it's like somewhere that's a little more rural and it's a farm, or whether it's somewhere, in a development, like in a big house up on a hill with an amazing view, you kind of got to look at what's important to you. So like, how long does it take you to get to town? How often are you going to go into town? If you want to go into town often, if you want to kind of enjoy the expat community and all the activities that are happening in town, and you want to go in more, then maybe if you're in a rural area and you're 30 or 45 minutes from town, maybe that's not as convenient. Or even same, like a lot of the houses like up in the hills, gorgeous view, but getting in and out is a lot more tricky, and it's the time.
Yeah, so we planned that into buying our house. Mm-hmm. So when we came here, we went in the hilltops and we saw these gorgeous houses. A lot of them we couldn't afford, but I mean, we got to see some really nice houses, some good views up in Malibu.
Yeah.
But We planned this out to be kind of lower level. We don't have a view, but we are like 8 minutes to the beach, just to walk to the beach.
Yeah.
And if we did have a beach house, like we were even lower, it costs a little bit more, and we can't really afford that. So we planned it into this house that we're going to walk and bike into town, walk in and out.
And we wanted to be able to enjoy, like, oh, this is happening in town, we want to go check it out. We want to be able to walk in and go out for dinner and have a couple drinks and then wander home.
And that's a big thing too, is to go and have some drinks. So like we went to Dockside, which is a restaurant right near the dock, surprisingly, and had some fish and chips, and we had some beers. Well, I'm not going to jump on an ATV or a motorbike and drive back, so we walk back. And that's just our plan, is to have a couple drinks in town. Then we don't have to go and take a taxi, which taxis are fairly cheap. You can do that.
Yep.
Way better option than trying to drive your ATV or your motorbike or anything back. Don't do it. There's a lot of drinking and driving in this country, and they're cracking down really hard on it.
They do catch lots of people on that.
They will take your vehicle. So that is what they do. I don't know if they give it back to you, but they confiscate your vehicle if you are drinking and driving. So be aware of that.
So if you're looking for a house, you really need to decide what you want your life to look like. If you're the type of person who, wants to live up in the hill or live like on a farm at a town, maybe you only come into town once a week, you don't really want to, engage in some of the more social things in town, or you don't mind driving back and forth, and that's what you want to do. It's really what works for you. So we can't say like do one or do the other. We're doing what's working for us, but we planned it that way for us. So that's what I would say to people, is you just need to decide what's important and how you want your life to look like. And then someone asked about Pelican Eyes.
We looked up there.
We did look up there, yeah. We looked at a couple houses.
We called one of them the Flintstone House.
Yeah.
It was very, very 70s, 80s rock feature.
Yeah, a lot of the houses up there, I would say, in our opinion,
The ones that have been renovated are gorgeous.
the renovated ones are gorgeous, and the location is great. They're
Good view.
you can walk into town, like you're literally, the steps to go up to Pelican Eye are at the back edge of town. So town is totally walkable. You've got great views. But the ones
Community
that are
pool as well.
Yeah, there's community pools, so there's like 3 pools in the area. There's a restaurant, so it's a really nice area. We just found the houses that we looked at that were in our price range weren't the renovated ones, and we didn't really care for the style. To us, it looked like it really needed to be renovated to be what we would have wanted.
And we want our own pool.
And we wanted our own pool.
Yeah.
That was really important to us. Like, we have a small little pool. It's not huge by any means, but we wanted our own pool.
And we have dogs, so they wouldn't be able to be fenced in at all. So it'd have to be kind of chained up or roped up or
Yeah.
kept inside the house. So
Like,
I don't
and
think we have any fences.
some properties there do,
Do
but
they?
not the ones that we looked at. It was more open. So yeah, so we wanted a fenced yard. We wanted a pool. So
It's a really nice community up there. You pay a little bit higher HOA fees because you're paying for the community pools and all that. But I recommend everyone come down, have a 2-week vacation here. 2 weeks will give you enough time to go see all the different areas. If you want to have like a checklist of what you want, and try not to compromise.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to go and have fenced in or gated in so the dogs can roam in and out of the house.
Yeah.
We want our own pool, so we had that nice. We can just go in the pool whenever we wanted. Don't worry about other people in the pool. And we had just and we also want to be lower on the ground too, so we can walk in and out of town. So we had those priorities before we looked, and then we got exactly what we wanted. And we were super happy with our house here.
yeah.
And we've actually met a few people from Alberta, our home province, that have rented a few of the other houses around us, and they love this area as well.
Yeah. And set those kind of priorities, what you're looking for in a house, and then get a real estate agent to show you those kind of properties, but also get them to show you some of the ones that like are not what you're looking for, so that you can really be sure, like, yeah, you know what, like I did not like the drive up to this house, or it's really windy, or it's too isolated, like just so then you're not questioning. So primarily we looked at houses that we were like legitimately interested in, but we also went to a few that weren't really meeting what we were looking for, but it was like, it let us know, like, okay, yes, we are on the right track. Like, we like this house, but we don't like the location or that kind of thing. So
Everything has its own benefits.
yeah, pros and cons.
Yeah.
EJ Nava was asking about some investment properties. That could be a good option for people here too. Like, I mean, we've rented our house out on Airbnb and done really well.
So when we go out on adventures, that's what our house is. It's on Airbnb. So if you want to rent our house,
Yeah.
find us on Airbnb, Mango Estates.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of people actually do have rental property here. But keep in mind, you have to pay for the house in full. There's no mortgages. There is some sort of mortgage or payment system with
The owner.
the owner. So
But
it's a
it's-
private lend with the owner, and it's very short.
Very short. Like,
We're talking 5 years.
if you got 5 years, that'd be big. Lots of them are
With
like
a high
2 or
interest.
3. Yeah. So
So you gotta go and put down 100% the value of the house. So keep that in mind for rental properties. So one thing I wanted to mention about also location. It's very unfortunate, but also keep in mind the houses that are up the hill and there's a fire behind them. The fire trucks are having problems getting to the area because they are up the hill and it's really hard to get to that area. So if there was a major fire that was putting the houses at risk, right now the houses are not at risk. It's behind them and the wind's carrying it down the hill. But the wind changed, which would happen only one time a year. The houses would be at risk and the fire trucks would struggle to get water all the way up there and extinguish it. So that's another thing keep in mind is services. So,
yeah.
well, especially if you have kids, like your kids coming in and out might be a little difficult, but
Yeah. So a few other people are on there. Oh, Brian says, looks like we're loving life and that we've lost some weight. We're eating healthy. Yeah, thank you. We do eat really healthy here, we find. And we're super active.
Except for rum.
Oh, yeah, we have.
A little more rum than we do back in Canada.
But you're sweating it out, so
Yeah, hydration.
life's about balance.
But yeah, a lot of fresh vegetables, fresh meat.
The
a
meat
lot-
here's so good.
A lot of chicken,
Fish.
a lot of fish, yeah, and pork. It's really good food here.
Yeah, really, really good food.
And they have everything I would say every cut of meat that you can get back home, you can get here.
Yeah. They just
It's-
call it different things.
Yeah,
So
and it's a little different. Like bacon you can get bacon, but it's a little different.
A little different.
But
The
it's,
pigs are different here, but it's so good. So the
Oh.
bacon here is so good.
Yeah.
Carla is on, our new pickleball friend. So
yes.
that's something new that we started.
I love pickleball. We have to do it way more often.
Thanks to our friend Carla and her hubby, they invited us to play.
Yeah.
So we started playing pickleball, and the court in San Juan, they have a really nice pickleball court, and it's like a block from our house, so it's like super convenient for us.
Yeah.
So really fun game if you haven't checked it out. If you're in the San Juan area and you've never played and you're looking for someone to play with, message us. We'll play with you. We're beginners.
Yeah, or you just put it on the Facebook page. People will just swarm in and like that's what we did. We saw it on the Facebook page, and we were able to go and join in. So if you're quick in your response, but yeah, just track us down and we'll play pickleball.
Yeah, we'll play pickleball
we
with
love
you.
it. We'll make time for you.
Yep. And actually, where we ran into Carla and her husband, his name's escaping me right now. Jeff. Yeah. They have been doing a blood donor clinic in San Juan every month, and so I gave blood like 2 months ago when we first got here. So yeah, I can only do it every 4 months, and I plan to do it as much as I can. But for anybody who maybe like is here and is like, ooh, I don't know, like giving blood in a foreign country, I did it. Like obviously, when I went, I like snooped around and made sure like I felt comfortable. Totally legit, totally great. It's the Red Cross that's there. Like everything is very much like it is in Canada. Like sure, just maybe like the lounge chair you lie on maybe isn't quite as fancy, or like that kind of thing. But like everything's clean, everything's sterilized. They're very, very good. They gave you like all the snacks and everything after. They even offered me a peanut butter sandwich. Like they were handing out sandwiches to the staff, and they're like, "Do you want one?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm good with juice." But yeah, so if you can give, if you're okay to give, it's definitely a good experience. And if you're a regular donor in Canada or the US and then you're moving to another country and you're like, oh, and I won't be able to donate anymore, not the case. They do have them. So find one in your area. But I know San Juan, they're doing one every month. So lots of opportunity to get in there. What else have we been doing and up to? Oh, well, a few people have recognized us from YouTube around town, which that's kind of fun. We got recognized in Managua.
Right. So that was actually funny. So I want to talk a little bit about that a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
So we're in Costco, and someone walks by, and if you're watching this, hi.
Hi.
But so we're walking by, and someone's like, "Oh, hey, hi," or like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" So like, you don't know us, like, okay, good, because I don't recognize you. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. It's like, we just watch you on YouTube. We're like, oh, thank God. So that put us, and feel free to go and say hi to us. Like, we're very friendly. We got nothing else going on except for getting our groceries and stuff. So, you want to see us on the street, just want to say hi or wave to us, by all means, like, people wave to us while we're driving, because our vehicle, I mean, people are very familiar with our vehicle.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed, it has a rooftop tent on top, and probably only Ford Escape in the country.
Yeah.
But
stop
just
us, say hello.
Stop, wave. You don't have to chat for a very while. Just say hi. That'd be great.
Or if you're in town and you want to grab a drink or go out to eat or something, like we're always down to meet new people. Or if you're coming on vacation and you're thinking of moving and you have questions, like
definitely
we've met some good friends, Ben and Caroline, and they're buying a house here, and it's just always good to chat with people.
Yeah, we love talking about this topic. That's why we have this channel, is to go and talk about this subject. But no, it's interesting being recognized for being on here. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So probably another big thing people always ask about is the healthcare here. And so since we've gotten settled in, we're like, okay, we've got to get a doctor. We've got to, do some of these things so that like we experience it for ourselves. So a couple weeks ago, we had our first doctor appointment.
Very different for me.
Well, yeah, Chris being ex-military.
Much different.
Much different. But for me, it was very similar to home. We had found the doctor that we wanted to go see a little bit before we moved here, actually. He was somebody that's recommended by a lot of expats because his English is pretty good. His name's Dr. Dennis Solis, and his office is just over by the Central Park in San Juan. So we decided to go meet with him. He was very nice. His English is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Really easy to talk to. And so we kind of just got set up with our family doctor. And because we do have health benefits through Chris's pension, we can claim things like massage and chiro and physio and acupuncture. So some of that we needed a prescription for. So we asked him for that. That was no problem.
Prescriptions in Spanish. So
yeah, prescription in Spanish. And then Chris needed a couple medications. We got those filled, no problem. So yeah, seeing the doctor really easy, and you'll never guess how much it cost for the doctor visit. $20, and that was for Chris and I. He saw us both and gave us both prescriptions for things, and it was $20.
$20, yeah, total.
Total, which for us will get reimbursed through our benefits, but for anybody who's like
from the US
or from Canada who's here, you need to see your doctor, it was a $20 visit. And then our prescriptions were not very much either. So, it's kind of one of those things, like you need to decide whether if you don't have benefits, there are benefit plans you can buy into here, and they're through the hospitals. So, you kind of got to decide, like we could go through one of the hospitals in Managua, and you get discounts on like surgeries, you get discounts on medications if you buy it like from certain pharmacies there. But I mean, we're not in the city all the time. Knock on wood, we're pretty healthy. So, and we do have benefits already. So we decided for us, we don't need to pay into another plan. But if you're coming and you don't have benefits, you could either just pay out of pocket, or you could or you could decide to pay into a plan, and it is quite helpful. Like we've talked to some people that have had some surgeries and stuff, and they get a significant discount for being a plan member. So if you are somebody who maybe has a few more medical issues, or maybe you're a little bit older and you're just like, okay, I'm getting of that age that like you might need more medical care, those options are available and they're very, very affordable. So yeah, seeing the doctor was super easy, super fast. Like we got in the next day. Like I sent him a message.
And everything's WhatsApp around here.
Yeah, everything's WhatsApp. So I sent him a WhatsApp. It was like after lunch, I sent him a WhatsApp. He's like, oh, can you come in tomorrow morning at 9? And I was like, oh, we can't come at 9. We're playing pickleball. He's like, no problem. He's like, 11:30. Like, so that's unheard of as well. Like for anybody else, like to get a doctor's appointment the next day. And it's not like we weren't calling saying like, we're very sick, we need to see a doctor. We were just saying like, we're new in town. We want a family doctor. We'd love to meet you. We need a prescription refilled. Do you have availability? So I mean, that in itself, like, or especially if you're someone who has kids, like if you know your kid's sick and like you could never get them into the doctor, you always have to take them to Emerge. Like here, you've got a sick kid or you're feeling unwell, like you can probably see the doctor that day if you're available. And even then, certain things you can just go to the pharmacy. You don't even need a prescription for. So depending on what it is. So I mean, there's lots of good things that way. And so then after we saw the doctor, Chris went for physio on his back.
Yep, so same place, got physio and a massage. So that was 2 hours. So it was like a physio massage. So it was a lot of like stretching because I have a really bad back.
Really bad back.
So did 2 hours of that, and then Tove had an hour massage, and the total came to what, $120?
$120 US. So
for 3 hours.
$40 an hour for massage and $40 an hour for physio.
Yeah.
So Chris was 2 hours, and then I was an hour. And
US.
US. And she was amazing. Dr. Harleen Flores, if anyone's in the area, she's in Rivas. She's really, really great. We can send you her contact information. But like that's like the going rate here, like $30, $40 for massage.
And it takes very little time to book as well. Mm-hmm. Like if you want to, I'm not sure what day we booked it on, but then we went just a few days later.
Yeah.
And then we booked another one for next week. That one is a 90-minute, and it is $55 for 90.
For both of us to get 90-minute massages, because we booked 2, you get a little discount. It was $80. So normally it would be $50 US for 90 minutes, which for anybody that's paid for massages back home, that is way, 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 way cheaper. And getting in, like my massage therapist in Canada, she was amazing. Candace, like hands down, she is great. But because she was great, it was so hard to get into. Like, and that would be most massage therapists. Like they're so busy.
And there's a lot of them around here as well. So you can definitely, like we are, shopping around. So we're doing the one in Rivas. That was great, very great experience. Then there's the one in San Juan del Sur. So that was
lots of availability that way, and they're very good, well trained. Something that we didn't know here, so like for massage, like if you're Nicaraguan, like things like massage, chiro, like you have to be a doctor to be able to do those things. It's like a specialty that they do in addition. So like for Chris's, like for the physio and massage, she's a doctor, and then she also does physio and massage. So like, which is pretty cool. Thanks for joining us, Dave. He says he's headed out to go surfing, and I know someone did ask, how's our learning to surf go? I went surfing a month ago with my nephew. It was really good. It was fun. Exhausting. Yeah. It was really windy, and like the waves were getting really big the last little bit. So lots of swimming, but it was super fun.
Yeah. So about 3 weeks ago, or maybe a month, 3 weeks ago, end of March. End of March for the spring break, up in Canada, Alberta. My sister, her boyfriend, and her 2 kids came down to visit, which is really a great visit. We really appreciated that.
Yeah, so much fun.
They made the venture down here. Unfortunately, we're only able to stay here 1 week, but we jam-packed everything in as much as we could, showed them everything we could in that week.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience. We went to Playa Hermosa. That's where the two of you guys went surfing.
Yep.
We went to Tricasa.
Jesus statue.
Hiked the Jesus statue. We went into town. We showed them all the grocery stores, the fruits and vegetables stores, the markets,
Restaurants,
the
yeah.
restaurants. Went to Nachos. So yeah, it was
Really
a great
fun.
visit. Yeah, so we did have family come down and visit us, right? Which is good.
We also did, just this week, we did acupuncture and chiro
Yes.
as well. So if you're someone who's like, does all those kind of like helping therapies, they definitely have all of that here. We saw a really good chiropractor. The visits were I did. Chris is going next week.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about the chiropractor experience, but set her out to go and experience it and let me know.
Yeah, he was very, very good. From he works at Elixir. $30 a visit for chiro, so very affordable again compared to home. And he was very, very thorough. Like I was in the office for like about 40 minutes. So I found like that was really nice, like very gentle, very thorough. Back home, not good, but just, you're in and out like super fast, or at least that's been my experience. So that was fairly nice. And then we also did acupuncture, and that was $10 for a treatment. So again, a whole lot more affordable. So even if you don't have benefits, just paying that out of pocket can be very affordable for lots of people. So our first experience, I guess, with the medical system has been really good, really easy to get in. Prices are great, and everybody is like well trained and very, very nice. And even just like for people wondering, like in terms of doctors here, like being surgeons, they have to be like a regular doctor first, and then basically it's really, really competitive for them to get into like these other specialties. So lots of times people think like, oh, like if it's a doctor in Nicaragua, like they're not really well trained. I would say they're very, very well trained, and because it's like very prestigious to be a doctor in Nicaragua, it's really hard to get in. And then even when you're a doctor, lots of them, like they need to do be like a general practitioner for a while before they like win the competition and have enough experience to get into like surgery or whatever it is. So, and then the training process from there is really long and really lengthy. And then a lot of those doctors do train with like doctors from Canada, from the US. They go different places in the world to train and stuff like that. So don't think that if they're here they're not well trained, or that if they're like a general practitioner that they're not well trained. They're very well trained here. Yeah.
Yep.
So
I agree.
yeah, good. Made us feel very good. Like, and just learning more about the whole system and how like it works. Like, yeah, you're in good hands if you need help when you're here. And if you are here on vacation and you did need any help, you can see a doctor. Like you could just go in and see a doctor. They would see you. And if you're like have something and it's like an emergency, you can go to the hospital, and that won't cost you anything. It's free. So even as a tourist, you can
Free emergency service
that way.
for all.
Yeah. For the ladies out there, I did get my hair done week ago, and I think that was nerve-wracking, a big step. Not so much for getting it cut. Lots of people can cut hair, no big deal. Your hair is long, give it a trim. But I did get my hair colored, which for anybody who does color their hair, that can be a little bit challenging when you're switching to a new stylist anytime, especially if your hair is blonde. Lightening hair takes a little bit more skill than darker colors, a little bit less forgiving if you're not exactly sure on the techniques. And I went to a salon here in town. I had picked them because I know they had posted, someone else had posted that they were blonde, and they had actually went for a color correction. So they had been somewhere else. The color was not good, and they had posted before and after, and they were really happy. And I was like, oh, well, if you can fix If you can fix color that's gone wrong in a blonde from somebody else, you know what you're doing. So I made an appointment at Sol y Luna. They're just in town, just across from the Hogtide Bar and Restaurant. They were fantastic there. I spent a great morning, early afternoon with the gals. It was a really busy little shop, and actually there was a few other expats that had come in and had come and gone just getting a haircut when I were there, and they were all asking me like, oh, let me know how the color goes. Like, I always come and get my hair cut, but like I haven't come for a color. So I know that's something that people are always a little bit nervous about. There is at least one salon here that's good. I would definitely go back there. I found my place. I'm sure there's other great stylists as well, but yeah, definitely I was a bit nervous going in with blonde hair, and they took great care of me. So that was really good.
Sorry about the noise in the background. I had to go and get my dog is running low on water, so got to go and fill his little camel hump. The other dog's outside in the sun, bathing.
So she does too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they sit out by the pool deck. We're in the shade and they go in the sun. So I think we've kind of covered like our regular day-to-day and some of those updates. So I know we said that we do have a big announcement.
It is,
Big-ish. Yeah, it's a big announcement. So we've been here for the last 4 months, but as soon as our stuff arrives from Canada, we are headed back on an adventure.
Yeah.
We're going to Costa Rica and Panama, and we're planning to be gone for 3 months.
Yep.
So like Chris said, we're going to be like catching up on our videos, and so the videos will be more like, you know, only a couple of weeks off of like where we actually are and what we're actually doing.
Yeah, so we're going to catch up on all the videos, and to hopefully we have a power generator in our vehicle. So we'll just run the generator so we have that power, and we're going to go pick campsites. So we're doing rooftop tent camping the whole way there, all the way through Costa Rica. So join us through all of Costa Rica, all the way into Panama. We're doing 30 days, 30-ish days. We're very relaxed on that time. 30 days in Costa Rica, and then 30 days in Panama. Then back up to Costa Rica, and that will be our 3 months, or 90 days. So we're allowed in Costa Rica and Panama 90 days. That's a 90-day visa down there.
Yeah.
So our stuff basically is going to get here, and we're just going to go and put it into storage and leave.
Yeah, so our house will be back up on Airbnb. We do absolutely love it here in Nicaragua.
But we love adventure.
We love adventure. So we're going to head out for a bit. Obviously the dogs are coming with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's next on our agenda. So we've got a couple of weeks, maybe 2. If we're really lucky and our stuff gets here in time, then we won't have to do a border run. We'll just like pack up the car and go. But we think it's probably not going to happen, so we think we're going to have to do that quick 1-day border run to Costa Rica, come back home to our house in Nicaragua, and then carry on from there. So there's still lots of places we want to explore in Nicaragua and lots of like fun things to do here. So it's kind of bittersweet because we're like, we love it here and there's still lots to do.
Met a lot of good people here.
But we'll be back.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. We live here. But that's always kind of been our plan, right? That this would be our home base, and then we'd go and do a bunch of traveling. So yeah, I guess we're sticking to our plan, really. Like that's kind of been our plan. So we've really been busy the last couple weeks since Chris's sister left. Pretty much since then, since the last month, we've been busy just trying to get ready for that trip to Costa Rica, sort through some stuff, figure out what we need to take with us. You know, we wanted to do our doctor's appointment, get our hair cut, like do all these kind of things so that we're ready to go. And now basically we're just waiting for our stuff.
And also we checked with the vet. So vets we're able to go and get the vet in, or get the dogs into a vet fairly quickly. So before we cross that border, we have to get a vet check before we go to Costa Rica.
Yeah, before Costa Rica, it's 14 days. They need to see the vet, not more than 14 days from when they cross the border. So we kind of can't get into the vet until we know exactly when our stuff arrives, because we don't want to have to do it twice. So we're very close to being ready. We're just kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern now, finishing off the last few things. We've already started packing our clothes and prepping our food and all that kind of good stuff. Carla was asking, looking forward to seeing border crossing with the dogs. Yeah, we're not super worried about the Costa Rica border crossing. I mean, we did all the other ones coming down here, and if anyone is interested in like more detail about crossing the border with the dogs, we did just put out a video, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that tells you everything you need to know about crossing borders with dogs. Other than Costa Rica, we didn't have the price and the times for Costa Rica, but it's the same process. The only difference is that it's 14 days, but we give you like the price for Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, how long your vet certificate is good for, what vaccinations and medications the dogs need to be taking, and all that kind of jazz, and just kind of walk you through it. So it's really not that difficult to get the dogs across the border. You just need to have your stuff in order, and you just need to know the timelines and everything. I think the biggest stumbling block if someone is traveling with their pets is to make sure that they have the proper vaccinations. Because if let's say like, okay, we're leaving in 2 weeks, let's go to the vet, let's get the paperwork, and then if you didn't know which vaccinations you needed, and let's say you didn't have the rabies vaccine for your dog, you wouldn't be able to leave right away, because most of the vaccines, they need to incubate for like 2 weeks to a month before they're considered effective. So even if you went to your vet and you needed the rabies vaccine and you got it, they would tell you like they can't sign off on your health check for another month, because rabies needs to be in their system, the vaccine needs to be in their system for 30 days. If there's some of the other vaccines, some of them, they need 2 shots. So they need like a shot, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later, they need a second shot. So we did have to do that in Canada. There was one vaccination that was on the list that it was a bit of a miscommunication between us and the vets. I thought that they already had it because it's part of like the regular set of vaccinations, and they're like, yeah, you have all the regular vaccinations. And then when for that province, and then when I was reviewing the requirements, one of them wasn't listed, and I called the vet and they said, oh, they do that in a lot of the other provinces, like in Ontario and stuff, but they don't do it in Alberta because it's too cold and they don't have issue with leptospirosis, so it's not a regular vaccination. We're like, oh crap, we need to get that. So luckily we found it out in time, because it takes a month for it to get into their system, and the shots needed to be 2 or 3 weeks apart. So we were able to get the first shot. We got the second shot like 2 days before we left, but then we knew going into the States and into Mexico, they didn't need it. So we knew that we had like enough time before we were going to cross into Guatemala that those vaccinations would be 100% effective, and then we could go from there. So yeah, it's, as long as you know what you're doing, it's not that difficult. Just give yourself a little bit more time if you're going to cross with the dogs. A couple other questions in here. People ask, any plans or thoughts about volunteering at the San Juan del Sur school or the Escuela Adelante, which I know is school, so another school here. I don't know. It could be a good opportunity. We're not so much of kid people per se. I don't know if we'd volunteer at school, but we would like to do some volunteering, like with beach cleanup and like at the SOS veterinary. Well, they have like animal foster shelter as well as a veterinary clinic, so we'd like to do some volunteering there. So we definitely would like to give back. Probably next time we come back and we get a little bit more settled in. This time we've just been pretty busy trying to get our own poop in a group, but yeah, we would like to.
Yeah, we're looking into doing stuff like that.
Oh, there was a question. So Carla said, yeah, lepto was required for Costa Rica. Yeah, lepto is still required for Costa Rica. Basically, Guatemala down, they do require the lepto vaccine, and she said that it had made her dog a little bit sick. So Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, right? Like, you could take something and get a little bit sick, so you gotta decide. But I'm glad that we did do all the vaccinations and everything for the dogs, just because, especially here, like, you don't want them really to drink a lot of the water.
Yeah.
There's just more like bugs and ticks and all kind of stuff. So it's yeah. And Carla said spread the vaccines out. So yeah, like ideally, you don't necessarily have to have your dog go in and get every vaccine like all one bang 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 in a row. If you're planning to travel, you can like take your time and plan ahead of time so that they don't have to get all those shots all at once. Machine Mender wants to know, what's your biggest, most difficult thing to adapt to the culture differences from Canada? What would you say, sweetie? I know what my answer is.
What's yours?
Well, Chris ponders. I would say probably, I think like the biggest different adaptation is, and it's not a bad thing, it's actually a good thing, is things are just a lot slower here. I sometimes say it's an exercise in patience when you go to do something, because like something that maybe would take no time at all takes like 3 hours, 5 hours, 3 days. But it's just like a lot slower pace of living, which I think is a good thing. I think we're as guilty as anybody else that it's just like go, 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 and everything's so fast. I do think, improving some efficiencies and things could be good here. I think there's some things that are really slow just because it's kind of inefficient, and they haven't gotten to a place where those practices are more efficient and a little bit more of a well-oiled machine and more quick. But just in general, just getting used to the fact that things are like, people are more chill, people are more relaxed, like
Yeah, things are never,
flow.
I would say never really early either. So we are, kind of trained to be early for everything, like 15 minutes early. That's kind of the way we live. And nothing is early here. So if you show up early for something, you're just going to have to wait. If you're 15 minutes early, you're going to have to wait 20, 25 minutes for, for something. Because
Except for pickleball. Be on time for pickleball, because
yeah.
that starts.
Yeah. But I think the language barrier, that's on us. That's our downfall. I find that people are very patient, are willing to go and try to communicate with us best that we can. So people are amazing for language.
Yeah, but definitely if you're thinking of coming, especially if you're thinking of moving here, don't hesitate in starting Spanish. Start learning some Spanish. Any little bit that you can learn will help you. Like Chris said, everybody's really patient and really willing to help you with the language, and Google Translate is a godsend when you get stuck. But it's definitely, most people don't speak English, and so even if you know a little bit of Spanish, you're going to know more Spanish than they know English. So they appreciate you trying to talk through it, and you'll pick up a ton. Like just being here, like my Spanish has gotten so much better, especially like doing border runs and just kind of being pushed into the situation, especially when there isn't somebody just to speak English, and just be like, oh, hold on, let me just go call my colleague over who speaks English. Like that really almost never happens. So you're kind of forced to do it, which a lot of times I think with language, that's what people need, right? Like people get shy to practice and shy to talk, and just when you're here and you just keep practicing a little bit at a time, it gets easier and better.
But I think the biggest thing to adapt to is availability of stuff. So if we wanted to order, you can't order anything online, obviously. No Amazon, no delivery service, no the mail service we've not seen or experienced yet at all.
Well, you can order.
But our electricity bill and water bill, I believe, are delivered, or I know our electricity bill is basically shoved into our door jamb. So whenever it comes, they come by and they put it in the door jamb. That's our mail.
Yeah.
But we haven't received any packages. We don't even know how to go and do it. The postal service here is, it's beyond me.
Yeah. It's more like there are some services, like you can do DHL, and there are some like third-party shipping companies that you can like get an Amazon package delivered to them, and then they deliver it to you.
At a cost, yeah.
It's all at a cost. So
and also time. So you're not going to go and get it the next day. So I think that's the biggest to adapt to is I was a big Amazon person, so I wanted something, I would just Amazon it. And that's, you can't do that here. It's basically if you need something, you go down to the market, you go to the store, or you go to the market, or you find it somehow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think in lots of ways that's also a good thing too, right? Like so much consumerism and it's just like accessible. Oh, like I want it. I'm just gonna go on Amazon. It'll be here tomorrow. Whereas maybe
And then
here,
buyer's regret.
yeah. Whereas where you're here, it's like, well, it's not that easy to get. Do I really need it?
They have all the essentials here. They have everything you need here. It's,
Yeah.
so.
And there's also like for anyone say living in San Juan or any of the other surrounding areas, if you don't want to go into the city, into Managua to shop at Price Mart, which is like the Costco or Walmart or, you know, whatever, any place, there's all kinds of delivery services in San Juan. So there's people that will go pick up whatever
Oh, yeah.
from the city and deliver. So if you either don't have a vehicle or you're just like, I don't really want to go into the city, either I don't have the time, don't have the patience to deal with the traffic, everything can be delivered. Again, you pay a little bit of price, but I mean, it's time and money and gas to drive in too, right? So,
And also food delivery too. Food delivery is really, really taken off here. It wasn't so much in the past, but you can see that they've ramped up quite a bit, and you can order almost food from anywhere in town. They'll
yeah, so
deliver.
like takeout, like you want to get takeout for supper, pretty much every restaurant you can.
Yeah, yeah, they just deliver to you on their motorbike, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so lots of good services that way.
Yeah, but no, overall, we're very, very happy here.
Very happy.
Everything's been going really well, and we'll continue our adventures in Costa Rica, Panama.
Yeah.
Record as much as we can, change up our videos a little bit so we're more current, and we'll just, you know, do our adventures and post it because that's what we love doing.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, watch our videos, rewatch our videos so we get some watch hours.
Yeah.
But,
And if anyone has any questions, let us know, or if there's
yeah,
something
write in the
that,
comments.
like,
Yeah.
you know, we do always get back to people if they have questions, or you can send us a direct message on Instagram or Facebook, and we're definitely here to like help you out, or if you need anything. But yeah, I think
That's it.
that's kind of what
For
we
now.
had to talk about today. Hopefully our stuff arrives in the next couple weeks, and we head out to Costa Rica lickety split.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in, guys, and yeah, we'll chat with you in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.